It's always been a really important part of my life is to kind of give before I take. Obviously going to a new ecosystem like Tampa with University of Tampa. I had a great experience there, a lot of really good faculty and professors that made a big impact on my life. And so I always wanted to kind of carry forward that impact because life's short, you got to leave some kind of legacy behind.
Having a beer with Fred is really about getting to people's passion and what makes them tick. Having a beer and having honest, frank, clear conversation that inspires our audience is what it's about. Hey, how we doing?
What's up, buddy?
Tom Brady behind you?
That's right. That's what we do.
I just had a great call with interview podcast with Gronk's brother Gordy Gronkowski.
Well, that's awesome. How's he doing?
He's doing well. He's a great person, and they got the equipment business. They sell fitness equipment to a lot of schools and other things. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, but
dude, I got to get me one of those pullovers. That thing is
It's
Is it Shipyard?
Yeah, that's our summer. That's our summer logo.
Summer one, yeah.
Summer logo, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So we, everything keeps moving, right? That's the idea. So we're good. So this is about having a beer with Fred. It's early morning, so I'm having a drink with Seth. Cheers, my friend.
Yes.
Ethan, we did a little podcast earlier. You had a beer with myself and Grant. We had a few different discussions about your passions and your goals. And I see you as a true entrepreneur. You're a guy that saw an industry that you liked and had some education in it. And you said, okay, I'm gonna be involved in my own business. And so for the viewing audience, again, say and spell your first name, and I'll give them a little bit of how I know you, and go from there.
Absolutely. Ethan Crosson, Ethan, Crosson. Grew up in Southern Maine, alongside you, Fred, up in the Portland, Maine area, and then made my way down to the lovely Tampa, Florida, where I reside now.
Right, and we met recently through my daughter, Jill Moses, who basically grew up with you in high school. You guys got in a little bit of trouble, but for the most part, you were good kids and survived, and now you're responsible adults. You just recently got married.
Yes, and just don't dig too deep in the soil, and we'll be good.
Yeah, you went to the University of Tampa, played lacrosse there, and now what's I like about you are always giving back and being involved in events. You've done a few events that we got involved in recently with the University of Tampa. In Maine, they don't do that much with it. Take an alumni group and go shooting skeet, but I like the attitude. Tell me a little bit about your involvement in nonprofits and your involvement giving back to the school and the area in which you went to college.
Yeah, it's always been a really important part of my life is to kind of give before I take. So, obviously going to a new ecosystem like Tampa with University of Tampa, I kind of was just, new kid on the block, if you will. There weren't too many Mainers down in Tampa at the time. So I had a great experience there, a lot of really good faculty and professors that made a big impact on my life. And so I always wanted to kind of carry forward that impact of, I use the cliche of I want to help people always get to their destination a little bit quicker than I got there myself. So I got involved right after college with what's called the Board of Counselors for University of Tampa, which is more of a young professional networking of both UTampa students and, young professionals in the area. So I did that for a while, chaired our signature event at the time. It was called Cigars and Mojitos out on the Tampa Art Museum terrace there, usually 400 or 500 folks with cigars and drinks and just celebrating the city, the school, and raising money for scholarships. And then I got recently involved a few years ago with the Board of Counselors for University of Tampa, which I sit on that board of the chair role of our big event for that, which is the Fellows Forum which we usually bring in about three different $1 billion company speakers, speak to students, faculty, staff, business community owners, all that, to kind of, trends in their company and what's happening in the market. So I say all that, it's all about giving back to the endowment for scholarships, either in-kind gifts or things for the university, or direct impact scholarships for students. And then in addition to that, I stay involved with Meals on Wheels Tampa Bay, which is one of, really five in the country that's fully infused by donations and contributors and sustainers like myself. They do not take a cent of government funding. So that's really impactful. That lets them kind of maintain their independence, but also really have the ability to really never say no to somebody who needs a meal or somebody who needs assistance, either, homebound or seniors or otherwise. And then I'm involved in a few other charities, such as Project Focus, which is a great local program here with kids and adults with learning disabilities, and they're able to have a great, safe area for school and kind of wedge them into the working world the best way that they can. And so, I always try and find good, impactful charities and causes and kind of gravitate towards that light because life's short. You got to leave some kind of legacy behind.
Well, that's very impressive. And I think in the name of your company, again, so our viewers kind of relate back. I think some of them have seen your video, but.
Yeah, Max Efficient. We're a privately held employee benefits brokerage firm located in Jupiter, Florida. I sit here in Tampa, Florida, but we've got clients really from 25 cybersecurity companies with 25 employees to the fifth largest car dealership in the country out of Charleston, South Carolina. And we're in about 17 or 18 different states and just doing good employee benefits work for companies and their employees, trying to keep them happy and healthy.
Yeah. And we, people like to do business with people they like. You're a likable person, but more importantly, very knowledgeable. I mentioned to you, I have a relationship with Paul Allen, Cross Insurance. And, I think that at the end of the day, you're doing well because you give so much back. And that's something that I've tried to do, but I'm always impressed when I see other people that do it probably better and more than I do. And Shipyard does. I mean, we try to do a lot of things that impact the community, and we do, but in a short period of time and and those are all two or three of those things I didn't even know about that you're involved in. So that's very, very impressive. And, I'm always looking for collaboration and discussion, about what opportunities are. You recently introduced me to Grant, and basically Grant Craft has craft law, and we quickly had gotten into discussions about things that we could kind of do to help each other. And I got you and introduced you to Rob Graham, and you think there's a way you two can help each other and potentially, and you took us to lunch at your club over there. Tell everybody a little bit about that. That's a very cool and special club you belong to.
And I mean, before I get into the Stovel House, Fred, I mean, I'm kind of following your footsteps, right? You got big feet to, fill out there in the community, but I've always witnessed from afar, you guys giving away just as much beer as you sell, right? And like, that's a really cool thing to do. You guys have been involved in a few things on my side, most recently the Top Shot, with donating your, Sea Dog, Shipyard, Ice Pick brands to some raffle giveaways, but also, sponsoring out there to give back to the university in that way too. So, I commend you for all you guys do. And, it's like we talked about, life's kind of short and fragile. So, what we leave behind is our legacy and the impact and the trailing winds that we give both as business leaders and entrepreneurs. Like that means a lot more than income and revenue streams a lot of times. And then, the world has a funny way of coming full circle and taking care of people. So, but the Stovel House I recently took you and Rob to was on Bayshore Boulevard here in Tampa. It's a private social club. Probably a couple thousand members here with, full service dining, a few different bars, some really cool meeting areas where you can entertain clients or do some, luncheons and lunch and learns, things of that nature. Just really a really another additional fun pillar of the community to network, bring people to that maybe don't have exposure to it, and just share a pretty, special part of the great city of Tampa.
Yeah, it's truly a special city. I live in Portland, Maine, and live down in St. Pete, downtown, but Tampa, it's Tampa Bay, but both communities, both Tampa and St. Pete, I found very welcoming, easy to meet people. Miami was amazing in the energy of the city, but it was difficult to get to know people well. And I actually got into shuffleboard down here, and we have five or six groups of couples that we do shuffleboard. So I'm officially an old man. I'm not retired, but I'm an old man living in Florida on a pension. That's what. But anyways, we were there, and it's a lot. It's actually a lot of active, fun people. But the thing about
that's the oldest shuffleboard club in the country. My parents
yeah.
are also they partake in that. So maybe you guys have battled it out on the.
Yeah, well, I haven't. I want to. We should do that though. We should all go. We go on Tuesday nights, but it's a networking thing, and that's the thing that I see in you and you as an entrepreneur is you have a passion and for life, and you're giving back to the community, but you're exposing yourself and your company, and you're networking with business people, and that leads to things, really measurable, really impactful activities. And I think, from the first time I met you, that was your discussion points. And I appreciate Jill saying, "Hey, you got to come meet my friend from Cumberland who lives down here." And there's a lot of energy you give off. And I think when I talk about entrepreneurship, it's location, 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 the timing that you do things, and the people you do it with, and the skill set you have. But then it's persistence. So I've added additional persistence can mean a lot of things, stick to itness, everything else. And we're involved in talking about business on this show. We're involved in talking about life. We're talking about experiences. I just recently did a show with Gordy Gronkowski, who I've gotten to meet, who's another young guy, who's very interesting because of his family business, and his dad, who's been in business for over 33 years, and obviously his brother, who he had three brothers that were all Patriots, and our tie to the Patriots things. Funny story. I went to a fundraiser over the weekend at the St. Pete Fools ad, and you know how you walk around, you put your name on things.
Yeah.
I didn't think I usually put it on early, thinking that other people will outbid me. There was six Super Bowl rings, right? That are
awesome.
but they're duplicates of the Patriots Super Bowl ring. So I put like $350 was the minimum bid, and of course I won it. Nobody else bid. That guy caught it. So now I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I have to, raffle them off again somewhere. But
Brad, if it makes you feel any better, I directly to my left in my office, I've got a something of my own that I did the same exact, and it's all the Super Bowl ticket replicas of when Tom Brady won all his Super Bowls, including
that's so cool.
The last.
Well, we have that in common. The Patriots. I was at an auction. They have an auction, the Patriot Foundation, the Thursday before the opening of the season, and they had these two stadium chairs from a section they had ripped out.
Oh, that's cool.
And Edelman had signed one, and Brady had signed the other. It was seat 11, whatever row it was, and 11 and 12.
11 and 12. Yep.
So anyways, I'm standing there, and the guy goes, "Hey, would you help me bid this thing up?" Blah, blah, blah. So, it was 1,000, then 2,000, and then 3,000, and then 4,000. And then I'm getting nervous, right? So all of a sudden he's edging me on. And now there's 200 people, and the cheerleaders, everybody's watching. So I get up there, and I did the last bid, was $9,000, and then and I knew this one guy really wanted him, right? So he goes 9,500. So then I go, I'm out, right? So I felt good that I did my part. Well, then all of a sudden he goes, we can get you another exact pair for so I was stuck. So those chairs are at Federal Jacks in the back room, and I don't know. It was a moment. I felt good because the Patriots do give back a lot to the community out there.
He's been amazing with it. Your Federal Jack spot is my first stop every time I get into the Wells and Kennebunkport area. But I want to say something, Fred. You said kind of in the realm of the connectivity in Tampa, right? Like I've done business across Florida the last 14 years, including a lot in South Florida, Miami, and me being kind of a first generation Tampanian. It's a little bit intimidating in the business community, right? But I just have not felt that kind of cold shoulder that you might get in a Miami, a Chicago, a New York. Tampa is a very vibrant, growing, open community. Just a few days ago, I was at the Stovall House, now has some pickleball and racket courts off Interbay in Tampa, and there was a young investor event for a company called Florida Funders by Saxon Baum. And they're involved in about 110 different high accelerated growth, startup, healthcare, tech, cyber, things of that nature. And I never once felt like an outsider there, and there's some folks there that are third, fourth, fifth generation Tampanians. So it's between Tampa and St. Pete, it's a very unexpectedly welcoming community. And I think that's what makes it so special for entrepreneurs, because it's not all these closed doors. It's how do I get you through this next open door? And, maybe it comes back around to myself, you, Grant, Fred, whoever, but it's not why we do it, right? We do it to make great people, have great connections. And then I think business just has a very funny way of naturally progressing in the ways that it should from that point.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, I know you got a busy day. You're going to be, it's
always busy. I'm off the Copperhead golf course to play some golf with some clients.
Well, you feel, like they say, get a lot of business done on the golf course. At least that's what my cousin Bruce Forsley tells me. So and I've done my share of poor golf but good business events. So
I find myself I'm very good at drinking some cold beers on the golf course, and I hit a shot or two, I say.
Yeah, well, listen, enjoy, and I appreciate your time, and keep forging ahead, and we'll see you in the near future.
Always a pleasure, Fred. Thanks for having me on, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, buddy.